A bill titled Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act passed through the House on January 15th, 218 to 206. The legislation bans federal funds from going to institutions that allow biological males in sports and requires Title IX provisions to solely recognize biological sex. But now the bill is being stalled in the GOP-controlled Senate. Hello, what? And my next guest has more on the GOP leadership failing to bring the legislation for a vote. Senator Tommy Tuberville of Alabama has been on the front lines working to pass this legislation, and he's been working for years. I went back and looked at the number of times he's tried to bring this up. When nobody wanted to hear from him, when it appeared to have no chance of passing, he brought it up. He brought it up again. He brought it up again. He has been like a dog with a bone on this, a true ally to women and girls everywhere. And there's a reason, I think, he's got a historic background in the sports world. As a former head coach for several college football teams, Senator Tuberville, Coach Tuberville, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Megan. Thanks for having me on. What a great subject we're going to talk about.
I'm your huge fan. Like the number of times you have tried to push this boulder up the hill really makes me respect you, even when you knew there was no way a Democrats-controlled Senate was going to give you a vote. But then GOP wins control of the Senate. And what we've seen since you guys took over in the Senate and the House now is the House passed it and it got massaged a bit. They passed it again. They said, yeah, okay, here we go. Back to you guys over in the Senate. And we've been waiting. I've been waiting to see a vote by the GOP-controlled Senate on this thing, because it's much better, notwithstanding Trump's executive orders, if it can become law that can't just be undone by an executive order 4 years from now. So why aren't we seeing a vote?
Well, exactly right, Megan. A lot of people don't realize an executive order, which President Trump signed almost a couple of weeks ago, defining gender, by the way. And he even came out and said, listen, we have to have a bill within 30 days. Because if you don't know this, executive orders only last as long as that president's there. So we got some work to do. This is a third time. Third time's a charm. I've had it on the floor twice. We didn't have the votes, even had a Republican vote against me the first time. Joe Manchin voted with me the second time. But we're going to have to get 60 votes, and we got a lot of work to do. We have 53 Republicans. We know we've got to get some Democrats. But it is a very, very touchy subject. Do you know, Megan, that there's some high school teams in this country in blue states that are totally biological boys? It is a disgrace. It is a disgrace what's going on. And what's going to happen is we are going to end up not having women's sports because parents are not going to allow their kids to dress in dressing rooms, take showers with biological boys, or they don't want them to compete against them because of being a safety factor. But it is devastating what is happening. President Trump understands it. They put $100 million in advertising in the election the last 3 months, and it helped him get over the top. 79% of the people in this country, Republican and Democrat, say it is wrong for men or boys to participate in women's sports. We've got we've got the majority on our side. As you said, we've got to get it to the floor. John Thune told me he's going to get it to the floor. He hadn't done it. Now, it's time to put up or shut up. We've got to get it on the floor so people can see, oh, if it's not going to pass, we'll do it again. But we've got to get people on the record because this is something that is very dear to the heart of all parents across this country and is dead wrong.
Would John Thune not want it to come to the floor? He certainly wouldn't want to protect Democrats. He must know of Republicans who are not ready to vote for this thing.
Well, leadership is actually co-sponsors of this. And I think at the end of the day, John Thune has been overwhelmed. Obviously, you got President Trump breathing down his neck. You've got the Congress or the House pushing things over. We're trying to do the reconciliation. The Laken Riley Act needed to be passed because that was so important with the border being under attack and we're losing so many young men and women for fentanyl and all those things. But now is the time to act on this. So we can't wait any longer. 50 years of Title IX, it has been decimated by the Biden and the Democrats and all the far left progressives. I grew up in this business and coaching. I saw what it did for young girls older girls. It's created leaders across this country, and we're absolutely devastating this. I still today, I don't know what Joe Biden was thinking, or was he even thinking, or any of the Democrats when they thought this was the right thing to do.
Is there some belief that this can't pass and they only want wins right now? They only want to put legislation on the floor that can get through?
Yeah, put yourself in John Thune's position and the leadership of the Senate. They're looking at things. Hey, let's win early. Let's get on the scoreboard early. But the problem with this is we've already won because President Trump pushed this out there. Now is the time to put pressure on the Democrats. Time and time again, 4 or 5 times we have to, even before the next election, get them on the vote that they're going to vote against girls and women having to participate in against men and boys. It's devastating to sports. It's devastating to the lives of young people. There's been rapes in dressing rooms and showers. It is absolutely amazing. Riley Gaines and I, have become good friends over this. Talking about it again. We're going to talk about her with her again later in the week because this is Girls Sports Week. It is so important that we keep people's mind on this and not let it go down and forget about it. This is so important to the people across the country.
Can you just tell me, when you said that there are girls' sports teams in the United States that are filled entirely with boys posing as girls? I just heard a story. I'm not going to name the school because I haven't confirmed this, but it's a mom friend of mine, and I believe her because she had a kid at this school in Westchester, a private school. They hired a new sports director, athletic director, and then they turfed this guy because he didn't believe in allowing boys into girls' sports. And the school made a conscious decision that not only did they want boys in the girls' sports, but they had a plan to stack the entire girls' ice hockey team with biological boys so that they could be totally dominant against other schools. So I do have some information in my own personal world that they're doing this now for competitive advantages. But you probably hear from a lot more people than I do in your role. So is that true? Like what sports are they filling the whole roster with boys in girls' sports?
Yeah, most of them are track teams. That you're going to have a few in volleyball and a few in basketball, but mostly the track teams, and they're in blue states. We get calls all the time about this, and again, even the parents in the blue states are in an uproar about this. And again, it's going to become a common thing if we don't stop it now. You let this landslide keep going, we're going to have huge problems getting this stopped. So it's important that we stop it now. President Trump's hot on the trail on this with his executive order. Again, this is Sports Week for girls. It's so important that we look at Title IX as something that is constitutional and that was written in our Constitution, because it wasn't. Because 50 years ago, it was the first time we ever said, okay, let's give women, young men, and women, young girls and women an opportunity. And it started, and it's the best thing that's ever passed out of this place we call the swamp here in Washington, D.C. But again, we're going to keep fighting for it. But again, I'm going to continue to push leadership. John Thune, John Barrasso, they all are on my side on this. But again, you might have hit the nail on the head a while ago when you said, they might just want to win. Well, we've had 2 losses in the last 2 votes that weren't Lake and Riley. So it's, hey, let's don't worry about winning or losing on this. Let's get it out there where people can see what's going on.
But do we think, Senator, that you'd get all 53 Republicans voting for this?
Well, Murkowski voted against it last time. And then I think the next time she may have voted for it. I can't remember. But at the end of the day, now we have 53. It's going to be a touchy subject. Again, if you just go back and look at the last 3 months, President Trump hammered this home with the people, and everywhere
there's no
I
question.
went.
No, you're 100% right. The New York Times just did this poll in January of 2025, as in a few days ago. 79% of respondents said biological males who identify as female should not be allowed to compete in women's and girls' sports. 67% of Democrats said that. 94% of Republicans, 64% of independents. These are huge majorities, even within the Democrat Party. So there should be enough votes, even on the Dem side, to get cloture, which is the thing that allows the big vote to happen. That's why he says we need 60, because you need cloture on. You need to agree that it's going to go to the floor for a vote, and then you only need 51. So I don't understand. We continue to face uncertainty when it comes to the economy, with a perfect storm brewing as Social Security and Medicare hit a breaking point, as the largest generation is, of course, hitting retirement. A smaller workforce means a smaller tax base. You pair that with our growing national debt and rising cost of living, and we could have a big problem. So what are you doing right now to protect your family for the future? Gold can be a safe haven in hard economic times, and Birch Gold makes it easy to diversify a portion of your savings into physical gold. Birch Gold will help you transition an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold, and it does not cost you 1 cent out of pocket. Protect your future today. Text MK to the number 989898 and get your free info kit on gold and a copy of The Ultimate Guide for Gold in the Trump Era with a foreword by Donald Trump Jr. There's no obligation, just information. Birch Gold has earned the trust of countless Americans looking to safeguard their savings and diversify them. Text my initials, MK, to the number 989898 to learn more today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.